Irreverent, entertaining, cool. You're listening to LA Talk Radio.
You're listening to Question Reality with Priscilla Leona, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Hello and welcome to the Question Reality Radio Show. I'm Priscilla Leona, producer and host of this show, and we are coming to you live from Los Angeles, California. Now, for 14 years, we have been providing our audience with entertainment industry career advice, and this show is definitely for you if you are questioning your career reality about pursuing a career in show business, or if you're already working in the entertainment industry and you just need some tips, advice, or resource information on how to elevate your career status. Now, the guests on our show have included Emmy Award winners, Grammy Award winners, Tony Award winners. We have reality TV stars and just a wide variety of working show business professionals who work in film and television and music and radio as producers and directors. And then we have casting directors and literary agents, casting agents, PR agents. We have talent managers, screenwriters, publicists. We have actors, comedians, singers, novelists, authors, script supervisors, stunt people. The list goes on and on and on and on. So if you missed any of our past shows, here are the 3 ways that you can listen to any of them. Number 1, free mobile app. And of course, you get that from the App Store, the Google Play Store. 2, iHeartRadio. We're on iTunes, Amazon Podcasts, Google, Audible.com, Stitcher.com. And last, you can listen to any of our past shows directly from the website that you're listening to us on right now, which is, again, latalkradio.com. And when you go there, just look for our show title, which is Question Reality, or you can look for my name, Priscilla. I don't even know my damn name today. Too many cocktails at lunch. All right, Priscilla Leona under the Our Host tab. And then we finally ask you to do us a little teeny weeny, I love to say itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikini favor. We ask that you kindly, if you love our show, please subscribe to our podcast via the Apple Podcast, and also to give us a like and a follow on all of our social media pages. We're on Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, just every social media platform. And it's all under my name, Priscilla Leona, which is always my little tip for my audience with branding. When you're starting out, and with this is for the entertainment industry as well as any business, I feel, when you're starting out and you're branding yourself, please make it consistent on all of the social media platforms so that people can find you. When people go to Google, they say, oh, I know, I met this lady and she has a show, and I know her name's Priscilla Leona, but I can't remember the name of her show. So they Google my name, boom, right there. Priscilla Leona on Google, Priscilla Leona on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you name it. So please try to remember to brand your name first. And then if you do have a product, of course, the product name. Keep it at 1, 2 words, but if you don't know how to do it, look it up, Google it. Okay, so finally, if you want to be booked on our show to promote and showcase your talents, current or upcoming projects or products, and also just to help listeners by providing much appreciated entertainment career advice, please go. Now you have to listen. We have 5-second attention spans these days. You have to go to our official website, which is questionrealityradioshow.com. questionrealityradioshow.com, not the website that you're listening to us on now, which is obviously latalkradio.com. This is the website where we air the show. So again, please go to questionrealityradioshow.com, and that is where you can see our annual guest schedule, who's coming on, what their titles are. So if you think, I might be interested in being a production assistant or script supervisor, or then you would go to the list and you'll see their title, and then you want to tune in for that show for the tips, advice, and resource information that I'm going to pull out of them. I'm going to suck all their knowledge right through a straw just for you. So, you also, if you want to submit to be booked as well, just click the contact link on the Question Reality Radio Show. It's really, really easy and short. We just need your name, email, title, and website. And there you go. That's it. That is the end of the show introduction. Now for the exciting part, which is always meeting the guests. Now, let me just tell you a little brief bio. Today's guest is Racquel W. Jones, and she is an author. She has been featured, a best-selling author, I'm going to just throw in there. She has been featured on Fox, NBC, CBS. She is the author of the best-selling books entitled, you're going to love these titles. Oh, my God. When I read them, I was telling Racquel earlier, when I read them, I was just laughing because they were so great and clever. And I thought, God, just based on the title, I want to read these books. Okay, the first one is Get Your Hands Off My Butt. The Hands-On Guide. You like how she did that? The Hands-On Guide. The Hands-On Guide to Avoiding the Welfare System. And Get Your Hands Out My Pocket. The Hands-On Guide to Avoiding the Child Support System. Oh my gosh, you couldn't ask for more brilliant titles for books. Now, the website, I want you to go to her website and check the books out, learn more about her, and read everything on the website. It is, and another one, she has come up with another brilliant name, okay? So her website is The Billionaire. Oh, gasp, 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 gasp. I love it. TheBrillionaire.com. You know how weird I am. For 14 years, what have I been telling you? I am really into titles. I get so excited about when I watch a television show, and you know how they always have the episodic title. If it's brilliant and it's clever, I just love it. Specifically, if you watch Young Sheldon, you will always find that they come up with the best titles. So I'm into that. So I get excited about little things, and that title is TheBrillionaire.com is brilliant to me. She's also on Twitter at the THA Brillionaire and Instagram at the Brillionaire. So I don't know if that's a typo with THA or if that's the way it's supposed to be, but on Instagram it is THE.Brillionaire. So you might want to go there, give her a little follow and a little like. So without further ado, let's welcome her to the show. Welcome, Racquel W. Jones.
Woohoo! I'm so excited. Like, that was the introduction of all introductions. Thank you so much, Priscilla. You got me excited about myself.
Oh, God. Now that's great.
You didn't see. I ran to the phone. I'm running to the phone like, yes!
Oh, is that me? Is that me? I don't know anymore, but it sounds good. I want to listen to her.
I know,
Oh, my
that
God.
you are.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you told me that because it makes me happy. I like to get people excited about themselves because how many times, Racquel, we just do what we do and we get to the point where we're not thinking about what we do, and then we have to be reminded that we're doing a good thing, right?
Right.
You got to be reminded. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Now, it's true because we become a cog in the wheel, and even though we're helping people, we just have to be, reminded, which I'm sure you're reminded all the time. So as I was saying earlier, I was thinking about the title to your book, realized, are you ready for this, Racquel? I realized that I used to say these damn phrases on a regular basis when I was a young, hot chick. Get your hands off my butt and get your hands out my pocket. Because, we had some gold
Seriously.
diggers coming after me. I had a little money, had a trust fund. And they were like, ooh, let me see if I can get some of that money. So all the players were coming at me, girl. So I love
Wow.
those. So I thought I love those titles. Oh, and my God, doing my research on you, Racquel, you are one impressive human being. I mean, wow, there's just so much to talk about today, but I don't think we can cover everything, but we're certainly going to try. So let's start out with, let's talk about Get Your Hands Off My Butt, the hands-on guide avoiding system. You said that this book is designed to reach all women exactly where they are in life and guide them to where they want to be in life, personally and professionally. And what I love is that it's geared towards teenagers to people who are 40 plus, right? And I think that this book is going to motivate these women to rise above their circumstances, stereotypes, stigmas, and just what you're trying to do is lovely because you're trying to get people to invest in their number one asset.
Mm-hmm.
And I love, Racquel, how you said that is themselves. So tell me more about what inspired you to write this book?
Well, the inspiration behind Get Your Hands Out Off My Butt came after Get Your Hands Out My Pocket. So Get Your Hands Out My Pocket was actually the first book, and so, just to be honest, I wasn't inspired to write it. It just came after writing Get Your Hands Out My Pocket, and I got to the last page because I felt like I was so hard on some of the guys, and I said, "Don't worry, guys, I got you. If you think I was hard, I got something for the ladies." And it just came off the page as I was writing. And once I wrote it, I was like, "Oh my goodness, there's a second book," and
Wow.
that's how that book was inspired.
Okay, so let's do 1, 2. Let's start with that one. Get Your Hands Out My Pocket, the hands-on guide to avoiding the child support system. And it's just as you stated, it's a captivating book for men to help them become better fathers, better partners, and protect them from the pitfalls of a brutal and merciless child support system. And I love this. You said it encourages and teaches young men how to avoid becoming fathers prematurely and prepares them to be higher income earners and providers for their family. And what I also love is that you offer ideas that will take them to the next level of fatherhood, which is great. And I guess you teach them while navigating their way through those challenges that come with child support. And what I love is that you came up with the idea that the proceeds go towards canceling child support debt for active fathers. So is there a backstory to what motivated you to write this book? Had you encountered a lot of people that were having struggles with this particular topic?
Oh, no. This was firsthand experience. I actually, I worked in a juvenile detention center, and I was over 160 girls, but 158 of them were from African-American homes. 158 of them were high school dropouts. 158 of them were from single parents, and none of them had relationships with their fathers. And as I pursued through education, they were high school dropouts committing crimes. I thought, well, this is not an accident. All the wards in the city look the same. Everything in that state looked the same. So I just started to tried to find out what was so, glorious about crime. How could all these people just be committing crime with all of these similarities and commonalities? And it was in the pursuit of trying to solve their problem that I got pregnant once, and then twice, and then 3 times, and then 4 times by 3 different fathers. And by the time I looked up, I could not believe that I created the struggle that I was trying to solve. So the problem, here I am trying to solve a problem, but then I became the problem. And I really had to say, wait a minute, let's back up. How did that happen? That I didn't wake up any one of those days and say, today I want to have a baby by a deadbeat dad who doesn't want to take care of his kids. It didn't happen like that. So then I had to really go through the psychology of where was I, and then where were these men, and how did these men end up in the child support system? Because it's not like I was just this, vindictive woman who just wanted to stick it to, these men. But it was just this culture. It was what was happening. And it was the most perplexing thing. And it took me, several years, probably almost 10 years, to figure out and get to the root cause and the bottom cause of what was happening in our culture. And it was just, of course, something divinely inspired. It was like, write this book on and help other fathers, help other men avoid coming into the child support system. They were doing things that just, it's like, do you want to go to child support? Is that what you want to do? I've actually had one of my fathers tell me to take him to child support, if not 2. And that part I could not understand. And I had to get into their psychology. I had to get, just to what could make a person say these things. And just, just living and then talking to other people, talking to other men, talking to other women, and then examining the culture. That's how that book was birthed.
And as you were digging into the psychology of the men, did you also dig into the psychology of the women as well and say, well, how you were just saying that you had 1 child and 2, 3, 4, and that's what prompted you to say, hey, wait a minute, what's happening here? Did you ever find out what was happening with you, that you were a participant in this happening? But
Absolutely.
What was it?
So first, it came from being in a home without a father. My father was in and out. He battled with drugs, and not having that male role model stand and serve as a standard and give you a roadmap and an example of what it is to be a man, what it is to be a father, what it is to be adored, appreciated, valued, just another male that I respected saying, hey, I love you. You're the apple of my eye, and I will protect you. The absence of that protection, the absence of that love, the absence of that adoration and overall, concerned.
Yeah.
Left me vulnerable and just, open.
Because you didn't have a blueprint. There was no.
Correct.
So, how do you know what kind of man to choose or look for when you don't have a guideline, so to speak, or a blueprint?
Pretty much.
So it's like, okay, well, let's try this one. Let's try this one. Because you're looking for, you're looking or hoping for the perfect dad. So, that makes sense what you're saying.
Right.
Because you got to have some sort of role model in your life. And if you don't have a father, it could be, a pastor or a priest or whatever your religion is, or it could be somebody. But if you don't have anyone, then you just are led astray. And, these guys.
To figure it out on your own.
Yeah. And, these good looking hot guys come into our lives and you get, if you're young, and you didn't have that role model father, you get led astray. I can completely understand that. So what did you do that to create this book? Did you interview guys who were on their way to the child support system. And how did you create the book? Who did you interview to come up with the whole entire book?
So I did not interview anyone. Those were real life stories. So in the book, there's scenarios, and these scenarios are from stories from my own personal life and or someone else that I, just referenced. But it really is not interviews. This is personal, firsthand experience of having 3 different fathers from all different backgrounds, and each one of them older than me. And so I couldn't even understand how a all the way grown and a half person could even be in a position. Like, what was it? So it was just, self-reflection. A lot of self-reflection. And just the more I understood women and the more I understood men, and then raising 4 boys, I really got to understand really how men think. Mm-hmm. And it was really saying, wow, okay, so that's how, this is happening. So I was able to just put something marvelous together, and I had the book edited by a young man who really helped me, like really put the finishing touches on it. And he's referenced in the book.
Oh, what's his name? Reference him here.
His name is Charles Griffin.
Oh, yes, Charles Griffin. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
So in your book, what are some, you don't have to tell all, but just what are some of the things that you had suggested for men to become better fathers, parent partners, and just what did you say to them to help them avoid the pitfalls of the child support system? What were like some of your tips and advice?
So I know one of the tips are, just showing up with your A game. And what does the A game look like? Well, if you're a garbage man, if you're a GED student, no GED, what does your A game look like? And showing up in that authentic place, being truthful, being honest, and being able to stand in that truth, no matter if it hurts the other participant. But also just helping them navigate the system. So teaching them about how you can, go to school, receive certain funding, keep your welfare benefits. If you're in subsidized housing, you can keep those, how to, do small business, keep your rent from going up. So it just was really saying, okay, now here is your blueprint. Here is the game plan. But before then, it talks about the wiring of a woman. It talks about that relationship where you were in the beginning. It was cool. It was great, and then it just kind of brings them to a finale as to here is your game plan.
What did you say to the men on how to avoid becoming fathers prematurely? Because, lust is lust, girl. I mean, for both male and female. So, for their part, what did you say to teach them how to avoid becoming fathers prematurely? Because they want to hit it and quit it. You know that's up, right?
Right.
What did you say?
So of course, for the young guys, it's always abstinence is always the better place. But if you're not going to do abstinence, I know I speak very raw in the book, and I let them know the pull-out method does not work. I am a prime example of that. And, if you're going to lay down with this woman, is she the person that you want to have your children? Because you never know what can happen. And so if this woman is not worthy of having your seeds, your children, then you might not want to lay down with her from the beginning. So it really is teaching emotional intelligence, how to be, women are always, I hate to say it, men, but women are always 4 or 5 steps ahead in most cases. Mm-hmm. And because we multitask, we multidimensional. We can have, several drawers in the drawer open at the same time. And so because men don't operate like that, what is your best approach when you're dealing with a multifaceted, very complex specimen like a woman? What is your best approach? And most times, men get, they just get hammered. They get lost because depending on a woman, they will run circles around you. And so, of course, abstinence. So, because it's young teenagers, it's sex and lust, but that just because it's sex and lust and everywhere, you might want to just be a little bit more selective on who you're choosing to have the children by, because it's not the children that's the problem. It's, can you also responsibly pay for the child? So going into the cost of what it looks like, is this 30 seconds of absolute pleasure really worth 25 years of pain? So I teach them how to delay instant gratification, how to take that moment, turn that moment into 5 minutes, that 5 into 30, to an hour, to a half day, to a full day, to a week, a year. It is always looking at the bigger picture. When you don't have vision, when you don't have sight in front of you, you tend to not care about what you do today. So it really is setting that path so that they can see themselves beyond themselves.
Right. And I think, and this is my personal opinion, Racquel, I really think, I know a lot of parents would be up in arms about this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think that this needs to be taught very early and in the school system, because if the parent or parents are not going to talk to their children about this at a very young age, then they're not going to know about it. And it really needs to be taught. I mean, if they're going to be letting children have sex changes at 10 years old where the parents are supportive of that, why not be supportive of teaching children how to prepare themselves for not becoming a father or get into the system? You have to teach them. If you lay down with someone, even if you use a condom, there's a 98% chance that you won't get pregnant, but there's always that 2% chance. Not only pregnancy, Racquel, but sexually transmitted diseases. People are forgetting about AIDS and gonorrhea and syphilis, and these diseases are still prevalent. The AIDS virus, the actual little disease, that is I think they said not 70. The last study I read, it was like it is 72% smaller than the HIV. The HIV virus is smaller than the sperm cell, which can go through the condom. There are so many people that have used condoms, never had sex, Racquel, without a condom, and yet they got the AIDS virus. So that's also something that they need to be thinking about.
Definitely.
Syphilis, and getting, I hate to say this, but getting pregnant is like the least of the evils that you can get when it comes to, getting these sexually transmitted diseases, because in women, they can have gonorrhea and syphilis their whole life. And by the time it's discovered, it's too late. You're on the highway to hell, Racquel. But and also what you said, teaching these men, hey, is this person that you're laying down with, is this someone that you want to spend the rest of your life with? If not, think about it, because if you're already having problems and, drama, and you leave, then you got one person, then you go to the next one, she gets pregnant, you leave, you got another. Do you really want 5 women coming at your ass nonstop, with drama? So when you put it to them like that, I think that really makes sense, right? Am I right when you tell them that?
No, you're right. And that's why we have set sail on this, what we call the welfare tour, to educate families. We want to be able to put resources in, young men's hands, young ladies' hands. So if I can avoid them from having children, I can avoid them from coming into the welfare system altogether. Because if you go into the welfare system 9 times out of 10, you will be in the child support system. And that is the trajectory that our culture, and there's a culture that surrounds, these books. So if I can avoid, the woman from even, giving herself over to
Right.
men in
Right.
that way, that's how we can at least put a pause in
Mhm.
the because now you have Medicaid and food stamps and housing and childcare and WIC and TANF. You have all of these programs, that, how do you say, engage poor families. But once you get into that trap, you are trapped for sure. And you will need a deliberate plan to get out.
Yes.
So if I can
Yes.
avoid you from coming in there in the first place,
Right.
I can avoid you from entering into years of bondage unnecessarily.
Right. And it's just a vicious cycle. You have a kid, you got to go to work, you got to pay somebody, but you don't make enough money to have to pay a babysitter. And then you got to worry about the babysitter doing something to your child. And I mean, do you want that drama in your life for 30 seconds, as you said? I mean, God, I can't even imagine that you would want that. I don't have children because I thought about that. My mother drilled that into my head. They're like, do you really want to be stuck with, the responsibility of dealing with, a man that you may end up hating? I'm like, no, I don't, no. But I think that if this is taught very early in the school system, if they can teach young children, Racquel, hey, if you feel like teach a boy, if you feel like a boy, then you're a boy, or vice versa, then they can certainly start teaching
Absolutely.
sex education in the first grade, in the second grade. I don't care. I mean, gentle, not harsh stuff, of course, in the first, second, third grade, but at least the introduction of some delicate matter. It just has to start there,
Well, you
because
got to understand also, Priscilla, that these are some of those pipelines into the poverty pipelines, because
yeah,
again, once you get pregnant and you go into that pipeline, you're going to be considered low income, because now it's already one thing. First of all, you're young. What job do you really have? If you're in
right.
college and you're trying to increase your earning potential, but now that you're considered low income, now you have a host of other problems like housing. Then you get on the waiting list for Section 8. So it's one door after the next, after the next, after the next. And then it becomes your life if you're not deliberate about getting out. So we're trying to say, listen, solving, Section 8 long waiting list, bringing a whole, solving affordable housing, all of those things come down, all the way down, if we can at least do what they call proactive approach. Let's just use these tools to help engage families and avoid them coming in the system. Now that they're in the system, what can we do to get them out? And that's what the welfare tour is really about. And all of the things that we've done over the years it has always been about escaping the dependency on government subsidies. Because once you lay yourself before that system, it really will own you for several years.
Yes.
And that's if you're just not deliberate on getting out.
Yes, and then the children suffer in the end, because you can have a mother that's angry, angry, bitter, sad. It makes you depressed. There's so many emotions that you experience being in that system. And there have been, as you well know, there have been mothers that have taken that out on the children, the innocent lives that weren't asked to be brought into the world. And they take it out on the children in whatever way that they do it. But it's a horrible thing that you may not have experienced had you not educated yourself or been educated by people like you who are trying to help before. Stop it before. So your book, Get Your Hands Off My Butt, love that, the hands-on guide to avoiding the welfare system. I know you're integrating back and forth. How is that book different than the first book?
So that book is because I gave, you know, young boys and men a tool of how to avoid it and get out of it if you're in it. This tool for the women was more so, okay, ladies, we are the receptors, meaning we are the ones who choose to carry the children. So if I could fill you up with vision and purpose and all of these things that would make you not want to lay down, because technically it's the woman who enters into the welfare system, and it's that male who would enter into that child support system. And if not treated well, or if you don't behave, you will then get into the criminal justice system. And so, so with the women, it was more, let's talk about the same experiences that I had, the fact that here are, who are you? What's the vision? What's the purpose? What's the direction, the destination? How can wisdom preserve us? How can knowledge preserve us? How can these things make our steps brighter, clearer, so that we don't fumble in? So it took my own personal experience of how I got to where, even though as a smart woman, I love God, thought I was pursuing passion, I still ended up in these, in these ditches. When unbeknownst to me, it wasn't like I had a roadmap. I just fell in, literally, because no one was guiding me. And so with that, you said something, Priscilla, that was interesting. What we don't know is once you hit that road, now you're dealing with rejection, abandonment, stress, worry, anxiety. Now you're, what I'm saying? Now you just took on a whole world of other unnecessary things. And now your heart is cold and bitter and angry. That's where the angry. So one of the chapters in Get Your Hands Off My Butt is called Heartless. And it's what happens when your heart is so cold now that you don't even care anymore about what you do, that you now just live this very self-sabotaging life. And so, we talk about forgiveness. We talk about becoming stronger. How do you now get that empire state of mind? How do you get the mindset that can turn off distractions, the mindset that can say, that's not what we're doing right now? Just be more proactive and intentional about what you want in life. If your father wasn't there, this guy actually will help you at least create the path that you want. And if you happen to get off the path, it will help you get back on. And so we've had women from all walks of life say, while I didn't want to read, I've had women actually hide the cover of the book. They didn't even want to be caught reading the book because they felt like the book cover was derogatory or ghetto. And here they are, these professional women going through the same exact thing. And so, it just pretty much helps us. I give them the blueprint too. I tell them what I did to escape the welfare system. I give that blueprint to both the male and female. But for women, we choose to have the children. We're the ones that's going to go into these systems, and we're the ones that's going to not just carry those children. We're going to carry the burdens of those children and the burdens of those fathers. All of that comes crashing down on us. And now that you're in it, how do you get out? How do you strengthen the mindset? Strengthen that just the inward man, that inward part of you that tells yourself, this is not what I planned, and I can absolutely change that today.
That's
How do you make
I
those steps towards changing that?
I don't want to be a statistic. I'm not going to be a statistic. I love
Correct.
that you're striving for that. Now, you stated that, as what I found interesting, one of the things you said was that the nation's largest affordable housing stock, public housing, has and I have heard this from people, a 10-year waiting list of several 100,000 people. That means they're awaiting their subsidized unit. So, this is the proof that the families within the current housing portfolio are not moving forward. So you said that this is due to 5 major contributors. So can you please list and briefly explain what those 5 major contributors are, and what you feel are steps that we can help with to build maybe a new workable program or a new system, whatever your thoughts are. And you started with
Yes,
number one
absolutely.
being, I think you started number one, the gross negligence. Number two, you started with the welfare cliff. Number three, the country club. Number four, federal housing. And number five, idleness and lack of productivity.
Yeah.
So go ahead, girl.
Yeah, so just thinking, I love the way you actually put the books as the foundation, because if again we avoiding you coming into these pitfalls, but now that you're here, now that culture has gone, just disinvested. When you see homelessness on the street, and you see waiting lists for Section 8 that are 10 years long, it is a clear indicator that families are not moving forward. In public housing, it's the nation's largest affordable housing stock. It's really all that we have. Not all, but it's the most that we have. And when you have people waiting 10 years, and the list is several hundred thousand waiting for 10 years plus, that's a problem. And these books touch that culture to the core as to why this, not just why, but it just helps people dig themselves out. But there also are those five major contributors, like we said, the gross negligence and the lack of Section 3. There are monies. So there is, money to be made off the back of poor people. Poverty is a pimping business. And for those that are on the top, people get paid to keep people poor. And because poverty has always benefited America, because where there's crime, where there's poverty, there is crime. That is a proven fact, period. And while it's not the case 99% of the time, it is at least 80. And that's a strong enough argument to say that crime is necessary to keep our American system moving forward, because you got judges, you got police, you got jails, you got private industries, you got people who want to build private industries. Wow. It goes on and on. So when
I never thought about that. I never thought about that, Racquel. That is, I had to stop you, because that is such a point that I don't think a lot of people even thought about. It is a business. I can't believe you said that. Poverty is a business for people. I never thought, and they're jobs to keep. The judge wants to keep a job, and the police officer and the jail system. It's a job. Oh my God! I can't believe you said that.
And if my job is to keep the poverty lines open, what does that mean? That means that I have to first make sure I don't invest. You have to show you can't. Where there is investment, there's growth. Where there's disinvestment, there is decay and deterioration. And so when you look into these hoods and these ghettos and public housing, whatever you want to call them, look at the disinvestment, not in the bricks and mortars, but in the people. So when we have a law like Section 3 that says wherever HUD monies is spent, that these opportunities should be afforded to low-income people, then why aren't people being trained? Why aren't people accessing these opportunities? It's $16 million in weekly wages for low-income people. I think that's enough to cure the welfare rolls. Like, if we could just touch and actualize Section 3, I believe we could start to move moms and dads off the dependency of the welfare system. But guess what? The biggest problem is, that's why I tell you guys, do not get in this system. Because as soon as you get in the system, Uncle Sam says, hey, I'm going to pay for your rent. I'm going to give you food. I'm going to take care of your health care. I'm even going to give you a check every month. And if you want to go to school, that's fine. I'll pay for your child care. But the minute, and I mean the minute you get a job, even if it's minimum wage, Uncle Sam says you got 10 days to report that income. And as soon as you report that income, all your benefits across the table get slashed drastically and or eliminated. Then she gets an idea that says, wait a minute, I just wanted to work. I didn't think everything was going to get shut off. So then she says, okay, nope, I'm going to quit my job. So she quits the job. So when we see this narrative and believe, do not believe because you see someone not working, they don't want to work. They can't work because Uncle Sam is giving them a benefits package that they cannot find anywhere else. So why would they move? These benefit packages are $50,000 in excess every year from the health insurance alone, from the TANF, the cash, the food stamps, the housing. Who is going to beat that? Nobody. And in fact, men can't even compete with it. So it keeps the broken families broken. It keeps the men pitted against the women because men don't get anything. The women get everything. And so that welfare cliff, this is why we got this national problem. It's not, we need to build more housing. No, we need to invest in the people. Protect the people so they could grow themselves out of poverty. If she gets her job, grow herself from her benefits unilaterally, across the board. Maybe nothing for the first year. Second year, 50%. And then maybe that third year, then they start to, execute the cuts. But you got 10 days? This is a part-time temporary job. And if you know anything about getting social service benefits, it is a pain in the neck. And no one is going to go through all of that just for a measly minimum wage job. So you're going to have what you have right here, right now.
Oh, well, what is this? You talk about something called federal housing, as we know it. It's privatizing through a new program called Rental Assistance Demonstration. What is that about?
So HUD has this program that they've been demonstrating for the last 10 years, and it basically privatizes public housing. So what was once federal housing paid by taxpayers' dollars is no longer. Now it's private housing, whereas big corporations, white collars, they're coming in and they're owning this public housing. Now they're inheriting this culture, which they have no grace, no skill to manage that mindset or that lifestyle. And so the rules become more stringent. More people become homeless. Why? Because you can't cut the mustard. Why? Because Uncle Sam is not taking care of you like he used to. Now the rules have changed. New players are now here. And with, $10 billion, one, you can't find any low-income people that ever got employed, trained, contracted. No one is keeping up with that data. HUD has not furnished that data when we've asked. And this is the business of poverty. Let the big boys come in and develop the housing and get the big development fees and the architecture and the legal fees and all of the construction fees and all of the equipment fees. Let us continue to do that in the name of helping poor people. But poor people, you don't get a dime.
Whoa, my God! So they kind of remain, the people get idle and they just experience a lack of productivity in these communities, right? And then it just leads to that mental and physical and emotional and spiritual decay. And then they take the crack and they do the drugs and then they commit the crimes, and because they just don't see a way out, right? I mean, even when the government promises Section 8 vouchers to the families and you go, oh, I'll get on Section 8, you get so excited. They don't, the people don't possess the wherewithal to build their own wealth or increase their own capacity for their new communities and that promised land of Section 8, because that waiting is so long, then they get dragged into the criminal life, getting hooked on crack and drugs and whatever their experiences are while waiting for this 10-year period. I mean, am I right, or is that right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. The Section 8 voucher, people think, oh, I just need the subsidy. I just need the help to make my housing condition, less stressful. However, no one invested in you. And Section 8, that's, the street term, but it's called Housing Choice Neighborhood Voucher because it's supposed to give you a choice to live in a community that promises opportunity into more different zip codes, so where it's not concentrated poverty. So you get to move out the hood and into the suburbs somewhere until the suburbs say, no, you're not coming over here. Because there's a whole negative connotation built around Section 8, built around the culture of public housing and subsidized housing and welfare. And so, we're here to say, my story fuels that if my story is the story that can help the families say, I want more, I want out, I want different, then so be it. Because this is what creates the mental health issues. So you could be fine, but go ahead and go and check this road if you want to. The amount of people that are mentally ill in poverty are far probably more than those that are not. But then again, you got to look at it. Whoever could create these loopholes and these gaps for people to fall in, you are not healthy yourself in your mental thinking. If you could go to bed and know that you have created a whole policy trap, a whole poverty pimping pipeline, you yourself are sick.
Absolutely. Hey, everybody, the time has come. I know you're enjoying Racquel W. I like to call her just Racquel W, right? I like that. Racquel W. Jones. Please go to her website and you can learn so much more. Let me give you her website information again. It's the Brillianaire, BRILLIONAIRE.com. Also, you want to go there because you want to learn more about the welfare tour, or it's the welfaretour.com, which she was speaking about earlier. Go there, please, and check it out and help spread the word and help Racquel and everyone, right, improve their situation. Right? We all need our situations improved. Thank you so much, Racquel. Say goodbye to your fans.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for listening.
Thank you,
Hope
Racquel.
you learned something.
Oh, my God. I learned a lot. By the way, I requested you as a friend on Facebook, so I hope you accept me. Because
Absolutely.
I want to follow all your stuff. Please go and follow Racquel. Thank you so much, Racquel. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll see you next week on Question Reality. Bye.
You're listening to Question Reality with Priscilla Leona, right here on LA Talk Radio.